perched high on cliffs that capture the full breadth of the sea. The tiny swiftlet weaves from its delicate droplets of saliva the white gold bird's nest, a culinary treasure worth millions of dollars per kilogram that has captivated the elite for thousands of years. But how do humans dare to conquer these dizzying heights and turn them into hundreds of tons of the world's most sought-after delicacy each year? The mysterious journey begins in coastal caves, where workers risk their lives climbing dangerous cliffs to collect each precious bird's nest, or at massive swiftlet farms, engineered to replicate the echoing darkness and humid air of natural caves, with every bird tended with precision. From there, the nests travel to modern factories, with skilled hands and meticulous refinement, transforming them from feather-dusted strands into pure, pristine delicacies, bound for the world's most exclusive markets. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we uncover how these treasures are made and the secrets behind their extraordinary value. For millennia, from the damp, shadowy recesses of sea caves, echoing only with the sound of waves and the calls of birds, birds' nests have been gathered from the wild. They once graced the lavish banquets of Chinese emperors, particularly during the Ming and Qing dynasties, revered as the ultimate treasure of nourishment. Yet a question still drifts through the mists of legend. What has transformed those delicate strands into a priceless gift coveted by the entire world? To unravel this mystery, we must begin with the first secret: the special salivary glands found in only 3 species among more than 30 types of swiftlets, which become most active during the breeding season. This viscous fluid is rich in glycoproteins, a rare combination of pure protein and carbohydrate, blended with precious minerals such as calcium, iron, zinc, and magnesium. When exposed to air, the glycoprotein solidifies into strong white strands, interwoven to form the nest's intricate structure. Equally remarkable is the bird's unwavering fidelity, producing only a single nest each season. This strict rhythm of nature allows harvesting only once a year, creating a scarcity that makes edible birds' nests a true delicacy, with premium blood nests retailing for up to USD 10,000 per kilogram. A value derived not only from its exceptional nutrition, but also from the extreme peril and difficulty of harvesting it. This very scarcity has driven humans on dangerous journeys, scaling sheer, slippery sea cliffs in storm-lashed seas, where wild nests cling to the rock like treasures that test the very limits of human courage. Every spring and summer along the coasts of Southeast Asia, when young swiftlets have matured and left their nests, the harvest season officially begins. This unwritten rule ensures the protection of swiftlet populations and preserves a sustainable breeding cycle for the years to come. Wild bird's nest harvesting demands not only masterful technique, but also a willingness to face life-threatening danger. Harvesters cling to sheer cliff faces rising 30 to 70 meters high, and in some places over 100 meters, secured only by fragile rope ladders swaying in midair. In their hands, a small set of tools, hooks and knives, must be used with absolute precision to cut each nest without damaging its delicate structure. Inside the caves, the air is damp and heavy with the scent of sea salt mixed with guano, while darkness is pierced only by the faint beams of headlamps. Outside, waves crash and winds lash against the cliffs, and even the smallest misstep could prove fatal. Many compare this profession to the dangers faced by deep miners or wild honey hunters scaling sheer mountain walls. Yet for those willing to take the risk, the rewards are immense. Natural, unprocessed birds' nests fetch between USD 800 and 2,000 per kilogram, while rare varieties such as red or pink nests can exceed USD 4,000 kilograms. These prices reflect not only its exceptional nutrition, but also the courage and extraordinary effort of those who risk their lives to bring home this white gold. Nevertheless, with the natural yield limited to just 1,000 to 1,500 tons a year, meeting less than 15% of the market's enormous demand, it paved the way for the rise of Swiftlet farming, a solution that not only ensures a stable supply, but also spares harvesters the extreme risks and dangers of clinging to sheer, perilous cliffs. To achieve a bountiful bird's nest harvest, preparation begins with selecting the right location, a decisive factor that directly impacts efficiency and yield. The ideal site is often near the coast or in lagoon areas, where swiftlets have abundant natural food sources, such as flying insects, along with a mild climate. The air must be clean, with natural humidity maintained at 70 to 90%, far from industrial noise and free from obstruction by tall buildings. But, in today's rapidly changing landscapes, how many safe havens are left for swiftlets to call their own? Once the ideal location has been chosen, the next step is designing and building the Swiftlet house. These structures are built from insulated, moisture-resistant materials with ventilation and climate control to maintain a dim, humid environment at 25 to 28 degrees Celsius, mimicking natural cave conditions. Specialized audio systems play recorded calls of wild swiftlets continuously, day and night, to attract them to settle. In addition, lure speakers mounted on the roof and around the building broadcast the calls from early morning until late afternoon, while interior speakers guide the birds to suitable nesting spots. This process requires patience and can take anywhere from several months to over a year for the colony to settle and begin breeding. During this period, technicians regularly monitor and maintain optimal temperature, humidity, and cleanliness inside the house to prevent pests and ensure the best conditions for the birds to thrive. When the colony is stable and the first nests have formed, the harvesting of birds' nests, the most important step in the entire cycle, can officially begin. The nests clinging to the wooden beams overhead demand meticulous precision during collection to avoid damaging their structure or alarming the flock. Harvesters must choose the ideal moment, typically right after the fledglings have matured and left, to ensure the nests are at peak quality without disrupting the next breeding cycle. During harvesting, they use specialized small knives or thin cutting blades to gently detach each nest from its surface. Every movement is calculated to preserve the nest's shape and integrity. The collected nests are then sorted on site, temporarily packed, and transported directly to processing facilities, where cleaning, refinement, and final packaging take place. At the processing plant, each precious ton of birds' nests undergoes an initial inspection to assess raw material quality and determine suitability for processing. Workers visually examine the nests to remove any that are damaged, moldy, or heavily contaminated. Following the preliminary check, the nests are weighed with milligram precision to capture their exact starting weight, a necessary safeguard when handling one of the world's most valuable natural delicacies. This data allows the plant to manage raw material inventory, calculate maximum processing yield, and plan production efficiently. After preliminary sorting, the nests are moved to the washing area, a crucial stage for removing dust, sand, sea salt, and other external impurities. Once soaked, Workers clean the nests more thoroughly by gently brushing their surface with fine bristle or ultra-soft brushes to dislodge any remaining sand or fine dust trapped between the fibers. All work is carried out under a light flow of pure water, combined with strong illumination to ensure clear visibility, bringing the nests to an optimal level of cleanliness. While washing cleans the surface of the bird's nest, achieving the highest commercial grade requires a critical and painstaking step: removing feathers and residual impurities. In this stage, each softened nest is placed on a specialized picking table under strong lighting, allowing technicians to spot even the finest down feathers, tiny eggshell fragments, or specks of dust. This process is almost entirely manual and highly time-consuming. A skilled technician may spend anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours cleaning a single nest, depending on its impurity level. Labor costs for this stage alone can account for up to 40% of the final product's price, making it one of the main factors behind the high market value of edible birds' nests. After feathers and impurities have been removed, the nests move on to the shaping stage, where each piece is given a uniform, attractive appearance that meets commercial standards. Technicians skillfully arrange and gently press the nest fibers into molds to create consistent thickness, secure the structure, and restore the shape of nests that are broken or uneven. Because if the product has a poor appearance, customers may choose not to buy it, even if its nutritional quality remains intact. Therefore, the shaping process is essential to ensure both visual appeal and marketability. Once the shaping process is complete, the nests are transferred to a sealed drying chamber. This is a crucial step to completely remove moisture, ensuring the nests can be stored for long periods without molding or spoilage. Drying methods may include cool air drying, convection drying, or heat pump drying, depending on the manufacturer's requirements. The temperature is typically kept below 60 degrees Celsius to preserve heat-sensitive nutrients such as proteins and amino acids. Once completely dried, each bird's nest is evaluated to determine its value. Nests are graded as E or C based on multiple criteria: size, shape, integrity, color, fiber thickness, and cleanliness. Whole nests that are large, uniformly ivory white, and intact are classified as premium grade, commanding significantly higher prices than smaller, thinner, or broken nests. One surprising fact is that golden nests and blood nests, rare types of birds' nests valued for their striking colors and sky-high prices, actually contain no swiftlet blood at all. The red color of blood nests or the golden hue of golden nests both come from minerals in the cave walls seeping into the nest fibers, while their nutritional value is only slightly higher than white birds' nests, mainly due to increased iron content. Immediately after steaming, the birds' nests are cooled and transferred to a sterile packing area. Premium-grade farmed birds' nests are often sold in elegant gift boxes, weighing 100 to 250 grams, with retail prices ranging from USD 1,000 to over USD 3,000 per box. However, wild harvested nests can be up to 5 times more expensive. These refined products are highly sought after as prestigious gifts, especially in markets such as China, Hong Kong, and Singapore, where birds' nests are regarded as symbols of status and health. Due to its high value, every strand of bird's nest is utilized to its fullest. Portions with lower aesthetic value, such as broken pieces, fragments, thin nests, uneven fibers, or those slightly yellowed but still retaining full nutritional quality, are processed further into ready-to-eat canned bird's nest. After being softened, the nest is precisely weighed according to the product specification, typically from 3 grams to 10 grams. And placed into glass jars or specialized cans. Next, a solution of boiled purified water and rock sugar, sometimes combined with red dates, lotus seeds, or cordyceps, is poured directly into the container holding the nest. Once sealed, the product undergoes pressure sterilization in a specialized steamer or chamber located in a certified sterilization room. Here, the nests are usually sterilized at 85 to 100 degrees Celsius for 3 to 10 minutes to completely eliminate bacteria, mold, and any remaining microorganisms, while extending shelf life at room temperature. Thanks to this process, consumers can enjoy ready-to-eat bird's nest with its natural flavor and nearly intact nutritional value, but at a far more accessible price than premium whole nests. In every delicate strand lies not just nutrition, but a story of danger, dedication and desire, a legacy spun in the air and treasured across the seas. Nepal, a land nestled beneath the towering Himalayas, hides a rare and precious treasure, harvested under deadly conditions, mad honey. But what is it about this honey that makes people willing to risk their very lives to get it? For the Gurun people, mad honey is more than just a gift from nature. It is a symbol of courage, faith, and a sacred heritage passed down through generations. What makes this honey truly remarkable is its hallucinogenic power. Just 2 spoonfuls can trigger vivid visual illusions and an intense state of euphoria. To this day, it continues to be revered in traditional medicine as a natural remedy, believed to relieve joint pain, support heart health, and enhance male vitality. As a result, mad honey has become a coveted luxury item among high-end buyers, with prices reaching up to $700 per kilogram, 20 to 50 times higher than that of regular honey. Yet the allure of mad honey lies in the strange chemistry of nature itself. Mad honey contains gray anotoxins, powerful neuroactive compounds derived from the nectar of wild rhododendron flowers that grow at altitudes of 2,500 to 3,500 meters above sea level. These natural toxins are what give this extraordinary honey its potent hallucinogenic effects and its mysterious medicinal value. Only the Himalayan giant bee, the largest honeybee in the world, is capable of reaching such heights to collect nectar from these toxic blooms, producing a honey so rare it cannot be farmed, replicated, or industrialized. And to conquer this dangerous species of bee, the art of mad honey hunting has been passed down from father to son for thousands of years. Preparations begin about 3 to 4 days before the hunt, a critical phase that can determine the success or failure of the entire journey. Bamboo ladders, stretching from 20 to 30 meters, are crafted entirely by hand and secured with flexible wild rattan ropes, strong enough to bear the weight of a grown man, along with baskets heavy with honeycomb. Even the slightest mistake at this stage could mean the honey hunter never returns home. That's why not everyone can take part in these perilous expeditions. It requires not only strength and agility, but also the bravest hearts, the most experienced hands, and a pure spirit. One crucial step involves the village elders performing sacred rituals to honor the ancestors and forest spirits, praying for a safe and successful journey. The harvest comes only twice a year, and to call it a success, the hunters must bring back no less than 20 liters of shimmering golden honey. But this is far more than a tradition. One successful haul can sustain the village for months, and everyone knows failure is simply not an option. And the question still lingers: will they return with baskets full of mad honey or come back empty-handed? The first challenge they must face, even before reaching the cliffs where the hives hang, is crossing a fast-flowing and dangerous river, with nearly 50 kilograms of handmade gear strapped to their backs. They use freshly cut logs from the forest to build makeshift bridges, linking each step across the treacherous wilderness. Every member of the group holds a vital role, because without coordination, any expedition could end before it even begins. After a grueling 3 to 5 hour trek, the honey hunters finally reach the heart of an immense wilderness, the towering cliffs where the golden drops await. A wise hunter never enters battle without a plan. Before approaching the beehives, the honey hunting team divides into 3 coordinated groups. First, 2 to 3 of the strongest men are assigned to handle the ropes, raising and lowering the honey baskets and securing the bamboo ladder at the anchor point atop the cliff. This must be done with absolute precision and strength, as this rope is quite literally the lifeline of the climber below. Another group stands at the base of the cliff, preparing bundles of dry leaves and lighting fires to create smoke that repels the bees. It may sound strange, but the smoke is the key. It overwhelms the bees' sensitive airways and blocks alarm pheromones, leaving the swarm disoriented and their aggression briefly neutralized. The final group, and by far the most dangerous, is tasked with the core mission, lowering themselves down sheer cliffs hundreds of meters high to reach the hives and harvest the honeycombs. Precision is everything. Misaligned cuts may allow fallen honeycombs to be caught by the group below, but if they hit the rocks, they're likely lost forever. Once the battlefield is carefully assigned, the honey hunters begin to move in on the hives. Down below, several hunters prepare bundles of leaves to ignite a fire, the only defense against thousands of furious bees. Without this smoke-based diversion tactic, the swarm could launch a collective attack, and the consequences could be deadly. Then, the lead harvester ties a rope around his waist, grips the swaying bamboo ladder, and slowly descends the sheer cliff, carrying only a bamboo stick. The hive is alive with thousands of bees gathered in defense, completely covering its outer surface to form a massive, creature-like mass. What's most fascinating is their synchronized movement, swaying their abdomens in unison as a warning display to intruders. Attacking the hive at this point would be far too dangerous, so the hunters lower a bundle of smoldering dry leaves tied to a rope, bringing it close to the hive to calm the bees and disrupt their communication. When the hive is deemed safe enough to approach, the honey hunter carefully uses the tip of a stick to pry chunks of honeycomb away from the rock face, then guides them into a woven bamboo basket suspended by rope below. Barefoot and suspended hundreds of meters above the ground, with nothing but a bamboo ladder and a long stick, they endure dozens, even hundreds, of relentless stings. But these hunters are no strangers to hardship. With unwavering determination, they press on without hesitation. Every movement demands absolute precision, because even the slightest mistake could send the honeycomb plunging into the abyss. Or worse, it's not the honey that falls, but the hunter himself. To increase stability, seasoned hunters rely on their bare feet, toughened by years of hardship, for a sensitivity that no footwear can provide. This allows them to control the stick more precisely and grip the rugged cliff more securely. When striking the hive, not every piece of honeycomb falls directly into the basket below, and each fragment that slips and crashes down the cliff is a real loss. And like perfectly meshed cogs in a machine, teammates waiting at the top of the cliff begin hauling up the baskets, now heavy with honey. Each basket typically weighs around 3 to 6 kilograms, and a single slip could send the entire load of precious honey plummeting into the abyss, lost forever. As the hours pass, calloused hands and bare feet begin to ache with exhaustion. But this is the most critical moment. The body may be weary, but the mind must remain razor sharp. One misstep, 1 second of distraction, could mean death. The hunters know that Himalayan giant bees are in decline, driven by deforestation and climate change. That's why they never destroy the entire hive. Instead, they deliberately leave a portion behind, allowing the bees to rebuild and continue their cycle. That fragility only makes this mad honey all the more rare and valuable. After hours of relentless effort and patient harvesting, collecting honey from a dozen wild hives, the time has finally come for the hunters to taste the reward of their labor. But before they can filter the honey from the freshly harvested combs, they must first remove dozens of stingers still embedded in their skin, some even stung on the face, piercing through layers of protective cloth. The venom from these stings causes intense burning pain and swelling, far more potent than that of regular bees, and in severe cases can cause anaphylactic shock or even death. If you've never witnessed it, honey pressing is a moment both essential and profoundly sweet, more so than any other stage in this extraordinary journey shaped by nature and human hands. With their calloused hands, the hunters begin pressing, sometimes using bare strength, other times with a simple wooden press to apply pressure to the combs. Thick, amber-colored honey begins to ooze out, drop by golden drop, into bowls or aluminum basins placed below. Since the honey is never heated or filtered through industrial methods, it retains its wild aroma and the unique, bittersweet, spicy flavor found only in Himalayan mad honey. Some even describe the taste as a strange heat rushing to the head, yet oddly fragrant. The leftover wax is squeezed dry and set aside, sometimes used to make candles or fuel. With prices ranging from $150 to as high as $900, and in rare, premium batches even reaching $1,200 per kilogram, some consumers remain hesitant, wondering if such an exorbitant price can truly be justified. In recent years, the number of hives clinging to these cliffs has been cut in half, devastated by deforestation and the creeping shadow of climate change. With every passing season, finding colonies that still survive becomes more difficult, and in some countries, mad honey is even restricted or banned altogether, including the United States, South Korea, and parts of Europe. But that's not the only threat. The pull of city life is quietly unraveling this tradition. As the youth leave, fewer hands climb the cliffs, and fewer hearts hear the call of the wild. What we witness today may well be the final echoes of an ancient way of life. For them, each climb is more than a harvest. It is a test of courage, a ritual of remembrance, and a profound act of reverence for the natural world. In their hands, mad honey is more than just a delicacy. It is a golden thread connecting the wild cliffs to a fading heritage and to the fragile balance between man and the mountains. But as the hives grow scarcer, and the cliffs fall silent with each passing generation, one question lingers in the thin, icy air of the Himalayas. How much longer will those ancient songs echo through these majestic peaks? Among more than 800 species of oysters, only a select few have the ability to produce high-quality pearls. Yet even among them, only 1 in 10,000 can yield a truly flawless gem. This rarity explains why natural pearls are so luxurious and sought after by the elite. Today, the most valuable pearl in history is La Peregrina, a more than 500-year-old treasure once belonging to the Spanish royal family and later owned by Hollywood icon Elizabeth Taylor. This legendary pearl fetched a record-breaking auction price of $11.8 million. If time is what sculpts the perfection of natural pearls, then for cultured pearls, their refinement comes from modern techniques and the skilled hands of artisans. Pearls are classified into 4 main types. Akoya pearls from Japan are known for their perfect round shape and soft hues of white, pink, and silver. Tahitian pearls from Polynesia exude a mysterious beauty with dark tones accented by shades of green, purple, or silver. South Sea pearls, often referred to as the Queen of Pearls, stand out for their large size and exquisite golden hue. Lastly, there are freshwater pearls, which are widely cultivated. Among these, South Sea pearls hold the highest value, 10 times that of Akoya and 4 times that of Tahitian pearls. And now, let's explore how these tiers of the ocean are created, from the skilled hands of pearl cultivators to the deep-sea farms where nature continues to refine their breathtaking beauty. Although humans can cultivate pearls, this process is far from easy. Before beginning their journey beneath the sea, the first step is to create the nucleus for implantation into the pearl oysters. Only the thickest and sturdiest oyster shells are selected, cleaned, and cut into small pieces before being shaped into flawless spheres using high-precision lathes. This process demands extreme accuracy, down to the micrometer, because only perfectly round nuclei can produce beautiful pearls. Once shaped, the nuclei undergo rigorous testing for size, roundness, hardness, and surface smoothness. Those that meet the strict standards are then thoroughly sterilized before being packaged and shipped to pearl farms across the world. But to create a perfect pearl, a flawless nucleus alone isn't enough. It also requires soft tissue from a healthy donor oyster and a bit of biological magic. A tiny piece of mantle tissue, just a few millimeters, is carefully cut from the donor oyster. This small but vital piece acts as a biological catalyst, stimulating the pearl oyster to secrete layers of nacre around the nucleus, forming the pearl. Without this soft tissue graft, the oyster might reject the nucleus as a foreign object and expel it rather than coating it. And so with this essential combination, the process moves into its most crucial phase, implantation. Before implantation, the tissue fragment is cultured in a nutrient solution containing minerals, amino acids, and growth factors to ensure the cells remain healthy and viable before being inserted into the host oyster. With a steady hand, the pearl technician gently pries open the oyster's hard shell using specialized tools, ensuring the delicate inner tissue remains unharmed. Next, a small piece of soft tissue from the donor oyster, along with the carefully prepared nucleus, is inserted into a biological pocket within the host oyster. Now is the time to unveil the mystery of how precious pearls are formed. Once grafted, the pearl oysters are returned to the ocean, where they continue to live in a carefully controlled environment. Sensing a foreign object inside, the oyster reacts instinctively. Since it cannot expel the irritant, it secretes nacre, a natural compound made of calcium carbonate and organic substances, to encase it, reducing irritation. Over months and years, layer upon layer of nacre accumulates, sometimes in the thousands or even millions, creating the pearl's smooth, lustrous surface. The longer the oysters remain underwater, the larger and more valuable the pearls will be. And you see, not every hardship that happens is negative. Pearls are proof of how nature transforms irritation into beauty. Just like a grain of sand in an oyster becomes a pearl, or coal under pressure turns into a diamond. After 1 to 3 years of patient waiting, when the pearl has reached its perfect maturity, it is finally time for humans to bring these treasures of the ocean to the surface. When the cool autumn breeze gently taps on the still waters, it marks the busiest time of the year for pearl farmers as they dive into the harvest season. Before diving into the process of harvesting saltwater pearls, let's first look at freshwater pearl farms in China, where the quick and straightforward harvesting process prioritizes speed and yield over careful selection and refinement, making China the producer of 80% of the world's freshwater pearls. Once harvested from the ponds, the oysters are gathered at centralized processing facilities. All the oysters are opened simultaneously, with no prior sorting. Workers use specialized knives to open the oysters and extract pearls quickly and manually. The process involves simply scraping the tissue inside to retrieve several pearls at once. On average, each worker can process between 100 and 300 oysters per hour, and in large-scale facilities, this number can rise to 500 to 600. Though freshwater pearls command high prices in the market, farm workers typically earn between 200 to 400 USD per month, a mere 1/10 to 1/100 of the value of premium sea pearls. After extraction, the pearls are placed in large baskets and rinsed in water to remove impurities. Given the vast quantity of freshwater pearls, they are often washed in bulk either by machine or using simple manual methods. Each freshwater oyster can produce 10 to 30 pearls, while sea oysters can only produce 1 pearl over many years. This results in the mass production of freshwater pearls, which is highly efficient, low cost, and abundant in contrast to the more painstaking sea pearl harvest. So when it comes to the pearl industry, what truly defines economic value? High-end quality or large-scale production? In stark contrast to the freshwater pearl harvesting process, harvesting sea pearls involves a meticulous and detailed procedure, demanding high skill and patience from the divers. Beneath the deep blue waters, divers quietly descend into the depths and gradually pull up cages filled with oysters. Each cage is heavy with hundreds of oysters, small creatures lying still within their rough shells, hiding the precious pearls inside. This work requires great finesse and skill, as even a small mistake could damage the pearls. But the journey of the pearl is not over yet. The oysters are brought back to the processing workshops, where each one is carefully cleaned. The outer shell is scraped to remove barnacles and other marine organisms, revealing the rough, textured surface, ready for the next critical inspection step. Next, the oysters are passed through X-ray machines to determine which ones contain pearls. Only oysters showing signs of having pearls inside are opened to avoid waste. Before being placed on the harvesting table, the oysters are stimulated to open their shells, making the extraction process smoother. They are placed in special baskets and exposed to a controlled temperature seawater solution, allowing the shells to gradually open. Once the oysters begin to open, a small, delicate rod is inserted to keep the oyster from closing before it is moved to the harvesting table. After the carefully selected oysters are ready, the real magic begins. Extracting the pearls is not just a technical process. It is also an art that requires precision and absolute accuracy. First, the oysters are secured on a specialized stand that holds them firmly but allows enough flexibility for handling. A tool is inserted between the two halves of the shell to create a small gap, just enough to access the interior without damaging the shell structure. Once the oyster is open, a thin, rounded scraper is used to separate the tissue and extract the pearl. The pearl offers no resistance as she is gently extracted from the pearl sac, naked and defenseless, inviting man's gaze to observe her, judge her, measure her, and finally classify her by her diameter, her color, her shape, and the delicate perfection or imperfection of her surface. Behind the dazzling beauty of each pearl lies a harsh reality. Most mother oysters are sacrificed in the process of producing a perfect pearl. A small number of healthy oysters can be reimplanted to produce new pearls, up to 2 or 3 times in their lifetime. However, the highest quality pearls are typically formed during the first graft, as the initial layers of nacre are always the smoothest and most uniform. Even when no longer able to produce pearls, mother oysters continue to give. Their shells are crafted into nuclei for new pearls, while their meat becomes a nutritious delicacy, a humble yet complete offering. After being harvested, pearls do not immediately become jewelry. They must first undergo a meticulous crafting process. Master artisans begin by assessing each pearl to determine the most suitable form of craftsmanship. Some naturally beautiful pearls require only a simple drill hole to be strung into necklaces, while others may be polished or combined with gold, silver, and diamonds to create luxurious pieces of jewelry. Pearls that do not meet the standard in shape or luster are often repurposed into pearl powder. Since freshwater pearls are produced in large quantities and have a lower market value, most pearl powder available today is derived from them. The production of pearl powder involves grinding the pearls into an ultra-fine powder while preserving their valuable minerals, such as calcium, proteins, and amino acids. Since ancient times, pearls have been revered as treasures of the sea, often referred to as tears of the gods or frozen moonlight that has fallen into the depths of the ocean. In Western culture, pearls have long been cherished as heirlooms, traditionally passed from mothers to daughters as symbols of purity, good fortune, and timeless elegance. Meanwhile, in Eastern traditions, pearls are regarded as emblems of prosperity and longevity, often representing harmony and strong family bonds. From a symbol of royal power to an object of prestige and sophistication, pearls are not only masterpieces of nature, but also enduring testaments to eternal beauty, resilience, and the timeless values that nature bestows upon humanity. In addition to fresh grass, they're given a custom nutritional mix made from ground corn, soybeans, rice bran, and vital micronutrients, all finely milled and pelletized for easier digestion and optimal nutrient absorption. At feeding time, the herd leisurely follows a red feed cart as it winds its way through the open fields. The pellets are evenly scattered across the grass, allowing each deer to naturally and orderly access its share. And then, harvest season arrives. When the antlers reach their ideal maturity, typically between 50 and 70 days, they are considered ready for collection. This is when the velvet is at its peak nutritional value. Blood vessels are still highly active, while the bone tissue inside has yet to begin ossifying, maximizing both the biological and medicinal benefits of the product. At larger farms, or in cases where the deer are particularly skittish and unwilling to enter restraint systems, remote tranquilizer darts may be used. Unlike what's seen in action movies, these tools are designed to deliver a mild sedative that simply induces light sleep, allowing the deer to gently lie down without resistance. After being sedated, deer are often blindfolded to reduce stress and minimize environmental stimuli. Even under sedation, they may still react to light or sound, so covering their eyes helps keep them calm and prevents sudden movements. Additionally, the blindfold protects their eyes from dust or accidental contact during handling and transport. This simple measure plays an important role in ensuring the deer's safety and comfort. Before harvesting velvet antlers, farms must carry out thorough inspections. The person in charge uses a specialized measuring tool to determine the length and diameter of the antlers, while also observing their color, sheen, and surface temperature. After that, the deer is given mild anesthesia or local anesthesia to ensure it feels no pain. Technicians wear medical gloves and use specialized instruments to carry out the procedure. A tourniquet or intravenous catheter is placed around the base of the antlers to minimize bleeding during removal. Once the antlers are secured, the velvet is carefully cut using a specialized saw, followed by immediate sterilization and bleeding control. The entire process is conducted with great care and under sterile conditions to ensure the animal's safety and preserve the quality of the harvested velvet. After the velvet is harvested, the deer are taken to a separate pen lined with dry straw to rest and recover. They are closely monitored for several days to ensure their condition stabilizes. This is a high-precision procedure, carefully controlled to minimize pain, so much so that many deer are able to stand and walk again just a few hours later. No longer bearing the proud antlers like a regal crown on their heads, the deer return to their gentle, bewildered appearance, quietly awaiting the start of a new cycle. Soon after, the special journey of the velvet antlers continues at the processing facility, where each young pair is transformed into a valuable medicinal product. Each batch first goes through a preliminary inspection line, where weight, color, shape, and thickness are assessed. Based on these criteria, the antlers are carefully sorted to group samples with similar characteristics. The first step in processing deer velvet involves immersing it in boiling water. The antlers are placed into large vats where the temperature is maintained precisely at 100 degrees Celsius, not a degree more or less, as any fluctuation could alter the internal protein structure. This is one of the most critical stages of the entire process. It helps fix the shape of the velvet, gently cooks the living tissue without denaturing its active compounds, and also serves as a natural sterilization method. Thanks to this treatment, the velvet retains its color, texture, and medicinal properties for the next stages of processing. Once cooked at the appropriate temperature, each pair of deer velvet is carefully removed and moved on to the next stage, drying. Depending on the desired final product, the factory may choose thermal drying in ovens, in a sealed room with fully controlled temperature and humidity, or natural air drying in a well-ventilated space with large windows. During drying, deer velvet can lose up to 60 to 70% of its original weight due to moisture evaporation. This significant reduction is one of the reasons why dried velvet becomes more valuable, reflecting the loss during the production process. When the surface reaches the desired level of dryness, the velvet is subjected to flame singeing using a gas torch. A gentle, precise blue flame passes over the outer layer to remove any remaining fine hairs without burning or damaging the velvet's internal structure. Once thoroughly cleaned, deer velvet enters the slicing stage, the moment when the hidden secrets within each antler are revealed. Who would have thought that beneath the soft fur lies a vivid, circulatory map filled with thousands of tiny, precious capillaries? Depending on the intended use, velvet can be sliced lengthwise to preserve the full tissue structure, which is ideal for products that utilize the whole piece. At the factory, deer velvet is typically cross-cut using specialized machines, producing uniformly thin slices just 1 to 2 millimeters thick. What's remarkable is that no two slices ever look exactly the same. Like fingerprints, each pair of antlers has its own unique biological grain, making the assessment of premium-grade velvet sometimes rely on both visual inspection and expert experience. After being carefully sliced into thin, even pieces, deer velvet undergoes a final drying phase, known as the finishing dry. This step is crucial to ensure absolute dryness in each slice, preventing the growth of bacteria, mold, or other harmful agents during long-term storage. Finally, each slice of velvet is carefully packaged in elegant boxes, sealed, labeled for traceability, and prepared to enter the market, carrying with it the long story behind its journey from the forest to the hands of the consumer.